class.
Hi, Mr. Ansari.
So today we're going to be learning about triangles, and more specifically how we classify them. So what's a triangle?
A triangle is a shape with three sides.
Yes, exactly. So again, it's a shape that has three sides, but also has three different angles. And the sides and the angles are how we classify them. So first, we're going to classify them by the sides. And so I want you to look at these three triangles and tell me what you notice. Jade?
The one on the right is all threes.
Yes, and we call this an equilateral triangle. And an equilateral triangle is defined as a triangle where all three sides are equal to each other. Again, equilateral equals sides. What about this one? What's cool?
But there's only two sides that are the same length.
Yes, and so this is called an isosceles triangle. And it's defined as a triangle that has at least two sides equal to each other. So let me write that. And notice how I said at least two sides? It can have three sides and still be isosceles, which is why equilateral triangles are actually also isosceles triangles, which is a cool little fact. And what about this one? Violet?
None of the sides are the same.
Yes, so we call these scalene triangles. Again, scalene triangles are triangles in which none of the sides have the same length. So that's how we define them by sides. And now we're going to define them by angles. But before we delve into what these triangles mean and what they are, let's review what we know about angles. So there's three different types of angles. The first one being a right angle. And again, a right angle is one in which the measure is exactly 90, right? So we define them by having a little square bracket. Second, we have acute angles. And those are ones that are small, smaller than 90. That's what acute means. Acute means small. So they range anything from like this to this, basically anything smaller than this, right? And then lastly, we have obtuse triangles. And obtuse means large. It means bigger than 90. So it's anything from like this to this, right? Really big and fat. So let's define these now. So we have three different triangles. Let's look at this one first. You see how the angles are all acute angles?
Yes.
Right, they're small. So an acute triangle is a triangle in which all of the angles are acute. And it always has to have exactly three acute angles. And what about this one?
That one has a right angle in it.
Yes, and how do you know that?
I see that bracket.
Yeah, the bracket. So a right triangle is one in which one of the angles is right. And notice that these two angles are acute. Doesn't matter, it's not acute because it doesn't have three acute angles. And lastly, let's look at this triangle. Oh, yeah.
One of the angles is like super, super big.
Yes. So what do we call big angles?
Obtuse.
Yes, obtuse. So really big and fat. So an obtuse triangle is one in which one of the angles is obtuse. Not obviously, but it kind of goes with the name. And notice that these two angles are also acute, but it doesn't matter because it has an obtuse angle. So notice that these are two different ways of classifying triangles, and a triangle can be one of these three and one of these three. In fact, that's always the case. So you can have scalene obtuse triangles or like equilateral acute triangles, something like that. And if you ever forget how angles are defined, I have a little song for you. I think it's kind of cute. So what I want you to do is clap to a beat, like that. Okay. Acute angles are pretty small, they're a cutie pie. Obtuse angles are really big, they are blobtuse. Right angles are right in the middle, that's why I call them right. And now you know your angles well, take a test and do really swell.